Welcome back to Aspire to Lead as we are jumping into the third bonus episode recorded live at the NCMLE Conference. And I'm so excited to bring this conversation to you as I have two amazing folks that are educational leaders, speakers, authors, and are providing a ton of amazing content and resources in the educational space. I have Frederick Buskey and Dr. Brandi Kelly as they're right here with me on the conference floor as we talk about their powerful presentations on leadership and hope and what it's like connecting with other participants throughout the conference and the exciting projects that they both have on the horizon. This episode and every episode in this bonus episode series is brought to you by New Horizons. New Horizons offers professional development and training solutions designed to help educators and leaders grow their skills and stay ahead in an ever-changing world in education. For more information, head over to newhorizonsglobal.net to learn more about how you can bring these amazing speakers that can support you and your team. With that, let's jump into this incredible conversation recorded live at the NCMLE in Charlotte, North Carolina, with my good friends, Frederick Buskey and Dr. Brandi Kelly. Welcome to Aspire to Lead, where we empower educators and school leaders to grow, inspire, and thrive. I'm your host, Joshua Stamper, author, speaker, and leadership coach, bringing you conversations that spark transformation, challenge the status quo in education, and equip you to make a lasting impact on your campus or in your district. For more information and resources, visit joshstamper.com as we're looking to ascend to new leadership heights together. All right, I'm so excited for my friend to be here, Frederick. Thank you so much for being on Aspire to Lead. You've been a guest before, so it's been really fun to actually meet you in person. You have your own podcast. We got to flip the mics once upon a time, and I just love the work that you're doing. I'm so excited to actually get a chance to see you and be side by side.
It's been great. Josh, I mean, like we connected,
yes.
I think, and you have that kind of kindred spirit. And so for us to be able to be here together and exchange and have all the stuff, it's been good.
Yeah. So you, I know, have been a frequent featured speaker here, but before we talk about your presentation and how you're feeling about this conference specifically, I'd love for you just to share a little bit about your connection to New Horizon as they're our featured sponsor for the podcast with these bonus episodes.
Well, it's funny because this conference is kind of the genesis for that.
Yep.
Last year when I was here, our friend Darren Peppard was doing the keynote,
yep.
and Darren and I started doing some work together and supporting some leaders. So we were here, and then Brad,
yep.
who leads New Horizons, came in to support Darren.
Nice.
Right. And at that point, I already knew I wanted to wade into the speaking space.
Sure.
So the whole time Brad's here, I'm kind of watching him, thinking, I know I need to get a speaking coach. Is he
Yeah.
going to be the guy?
Yeah.
We got to have some good conversations and just saw the community
Right.
that New Horizons is.
Yep.
Right. Because it's not about being a speaker.
Yep.
It's about a community of people who are passionate about education, passionate about leadership, passionate about
Yes.
kids, and that we come together and have that community. So that really started for me last year. And, you and I had dinner
Yep.
yesterday with a group. Well,
Yep.
I remember having dinner on the opposite side of the room, but pretty similar group of people.
Sure.
And so that's the origin. So
Yes.
I reached out to Brad later and asked him if he would be my coach. And
Yeah.
here we are.
Here we are, and I'm so excited to be a part of your team with New Horizons. You're doing phenomenal work, and I want to talk about that work more. So, Frederick, you were here a little bit early because you were working with leaders, and will you just share out, you have something that you've connected with Darren with and built up, and I think you're doing amazing work with that space.
Yeah, so we partnered with North Carolina Middle-Level Education Association, and we're doing what we call a Leadership Excellence Network.
Nice.
And so we're working with a small cohort of middle school leaders. We've got principals, assistant principals. We have a district office person. We have somebody from a charter school who's the dean of students. So it's a diverse group of people. And what we've done is we've gotten together 4 times this year, 2 times virtually, 2 times in person, and just working with them through the school year. And I think what's really unique about what we're doing is we focus a lot on reflection.
Yep.
Right. And the job when you're in it, it's you don't have time to reflect.
No.
But we're pulling people out of their school. They come in and we create that space for them to reflect. And so there's that reflection piece. And then we're not a content heavy program. We're really about reflection and then tools and being intentional.
Yep.
So people can think about what's working, what's not working, where do I need to go? Here are a couple tools that you can go home and Google right back to your school and apply. And of course, the value beyond Darren and I is all your colleagues in the room.
Yeah.
Because you had 10 other people in there, and wow, we're going through the same thing, but in a different context. And so it's been super powerful, really enjoyable to do.
Love the work you guys are building here in North Carolina. And then let's talk about your presentation, because I just saw some folks coming out. They were talking about how awesome it was. So we just share about the message that you were trying to, have at NCMLE.
Yeah, so the session's on the motivation equation, right? And we talk about 3 phases of motivation: the task phase, the skill phase, and the behavior phase,
sure.
Right? So is my 8th grade math student going to do their math homework? Is Miss Henson, the math teacher, going to implement advisory?
Sure.
Is Kelly, the assistant principal, going to follow through on her New Year's resolutions to eat better and go work out and get up at 5:30 in the morning, right? So we have these 3 phases. And the challenge in motivation is for those 3 phases, the task, the skill, behavior, we have 3 ugly faces. So when Bettina doesn't do her math homework, we say she's lazy.
Yeah.
When Miss Henson doesn't implement advisory, we say she's resistant.
Sure.
And when we, Kelly or we, don't follow through on our New Year's commitment, we criticize ourselves as being undisciplined, right? Which is crazy, because you don't get to be in a school, be a leader, being undisciplined, right? And so what happens? These ugly faces put us in a place of judgment, and that judgment leads to conflict. I'm going to make Bettina do her math homework. I'm going to force Miss Henson to do advisory. I'm going to beat up myself until I feel so bad that I do get to the gym, right? And so what the motivation equation does is it moves us from this place of judgment to a place of curiosity. And when we get curious, instead of being in conflict, we can begin to be collaborators, right? And so the motivation equation is motivation equals value divided by effort. Motivation equals value divided by effort. Do I see the value of something as being worth the effort it's going to take to achieve it?
Sure.
And the thing that the big awakening, I think, for us is to understand is that we all don't perceive those values or efforts the same.
So true.
Right? And so when somebody's not doing the thing, all that's telling me is they don't see the same value and effort in it that I do. So now I get curious, and now we can start to talk about, what's going on here? I think advisory is awesome, but you're struggling to implement. Let's talk about it.
Oh, I love the message so much. All right, so you definitely need to connect with Frederick if you're looking for PD, a presenter, anything like that. Obviously, this is our guy. So I'm going to have all of his links in the show notes. So make sure you're connecting with him. Frederick, this conference you've been a part of for, I think you said 3 years.
3 years,
So why is it that you keep coming back to this event?
Community.
Nice.
Yeah. I love middle school people. I love being around the teachers and the school leaders, but also just the speaking community and the presenter community that comes to this. And I think David James, who does so much of the organization, is so intentional.
Right.
He's intentional about creating spaces and opportunities for us to connect with each other. And that's what makes this special. And I think the big lesson is, as a school leader, right, to be intentional about building community.
Yeah, so true. Well, I love that you're in my community. I think the world of you, my friend, and I'm just so appreciative, not only the work you're doing, but the opportunity to be in the same space with New Horizons, and then obviously this conference. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Aspire Leaders, I'm so excited because you'll start to see a theme. I've been connected to so many people at this conference, but I've never met them in person. So I've got Dr. Brandi Kelly, and I've got her book here with me. She's doing phenomenal work. I've been connected with her. We were talking through it. She definitely has been on the Language of Behavior podcast. I can't remember if you've been on Aspired Leaders. So we're going to have Brandi come on and talk about all the amazing work she's doing. She's killing it. She's traveling all over, speaking. And Brandi, it's 1, awesome to see you in person. 2, to connect and learn more about what you're doing. But also, you were presenting earlier. So I would love for you just to share out what you were presenting on, and then we can talk about your book a little bit, and then just kind of give a teaser as to what's to come in a future episode on Aspire to Lead.
Yeah. So my presentation today was Leading with Hope, a blueprint for resilient leadership.
Okay.
And right now, there's research that says about 70% of leaders report operating under chronic stress.
Oh, wow.
Our teachers' pipeline's dwindling.
Yep.
They don't want to go into leadership. They don't want to be principals. Principals don't necessarily want to be superintendents. And we've got to do something to fix that problem.
Sure.
And so my solution is hope. You know, my t-shirt says hope dealer. I'm a hope dealer.
Love it.
Right?
Yep.
I wrote an article on Substack, Your Brain on Hope. We have to cultivate the positive in our life and in our leadership.
Sure.
And that's what a blueprint of hope is doing for our leaders.
Sure.
In my session, I talked about a lot of what I talk about in my book.
Yeah.
And part of that was, you know, when I went into leadership, when I decided to go into education, it was because of a trauma early in my life. When I was 15 years old, my brother Brandon drowned.
Sure.
That could have set me up for uncertainty and grief and fear.
Yeah.
But hope is a choice. And I've created a system so that we can cultivate the person that God created us to be.
Sure.
And to lead with hope through that choice, through that system, producing self-efficacy in our life. And I believe it all starts with that belief in what is possible.
Yeah. So let's dive into the book a little bit because obviously we're going to talk much further when we get into a full episode. We're going to just do a short conversation today and then talk about this wonderful conference. But as far as this resource, you know, we always have a passion, right? We see a problem, want to provide a solution. So what is this solving for our leaders?
Yeah. So it's a framework for resiliency.
Awesome.
It's cultivating that resiliency in our life and in our leadership. And I don't think either of those can be separated.
Sure.
We carry the baggage from our lives into our leadership, and we have to be self-aware enough to know how to navigate that and to build that resilience. And I work with leaders now in building that resilience through a system of hope, habits that regulate behavior, right? And then there's optimistic outlook. That's the mindset. That's what directs our thinking. And sometimes we have to practice the pause and think about what we're thinking about. And then there's the purpose piece. That purpose anchors our identity. When we think about who we are and who we're becoming, we all need a purpose. And then excellence, getting 1% better each and every day. None of us have arrived yet. We're all becoming. So let's continue growing and supporting one another. And the thread that runs through all of this is that we need community. We need each other. And this is a great example of that. This NCMLE Conference is a great example of that. I love meeting people like you in person.
It's been so fun.
Connecting, talking about the work we're doing to solve the problems for leaders and for education. Because my overall hope is just that, to give hope to other people so they can keep moving forward and doing the important work they're doing.
Totally. And I know you're doing that. I know this book specifically is connecting to a lot of folks. I can't wait to dive in now that I have a copy of my own. So we'll have a link not only to the book, but how to get connected with Brandi. So do you want to direct them anywhere if they want to learn more about your work?
So the best place to get in touch with me is to go to my website, sparkhopeedu.com. It's sparkhopeedu.com. And I offer a free Hope Leadership Clarity Assessment.
Awesome.
It helps you get clear on your leadership, the gaps in your leadership, and I have a lot of free resources that I can provide for you. I would love to support you and to help you along your journey. So go to sparkhopeedu.com to get that free resource.
Very cool. Is this the first year you've been here at the conference? Awesome. So are we thinking we'll see each other again next year?
I think so.
Awesome.
Yes, sir.
Cannot wait. We'll do some more Aspire to Lead, hopefully same space at this conference. NCMLE is amazing. David James, again, has created such a beautiful space for community, like you said, to connect with some amazing folks. And so for those who are in the North Carolina area or surrounding, make sure that you're heading over here for next year, 2027, to join not only Brandi, myself, and so many amazing folks. And, you know, I have been talking with people all day today. However, there's so many other speakers that I wish I could have on the podcast that I either have left for other places. And so hopefully next year we'll get them on. But Brandi, I wanted to thank you so much for being on with me for this bonus content. And I cannot wait to have a longer conversation because she's absolutely amazing. So check out her book, check out her website. And again, thank you so much for being on Aspire to Lead.
Thank you. And thank you for the work you're doing.
This podcast is a proud member of the Teach Better Podcast Network. Better today, better tomorrow, and the podcast to get you there. Explore more podcasts at www.teachbetterpodcastnetwork.com. We'll see you on the next episode.